a pioneer, a visionary, a philanthropist, and a titan in the world of advertising, marketing, and business. A man whose impact has reverberated through the Nigerian landscape and beyond. Sir Omojafor's impact on Nigeria is immeasurable. His journey is a testament to hard work, innovation, and a deep-rooted passion for excellence. Welcome to Think Nigeria. I am Siju Alabi. Thank you for joining us on this show today.
Pleasure.
When I got a nod from you, I was like, really? Yay!
Yeah.
So it's great to have you here.
Because I just believe we got to impact
Absolutely.
whatever we've done over the years on the younger ones coming up. You don't die with your experience, your knowledge, and all that. You got to be able to say to the younger ones, this is how we went about it. This is how we achieved the little we've been able to achieve. You can take it up from here.
I like your humility. The little you have done enormously well. As part of you were part of the generation that laid the foundation for the advertising industry in Nigeria. What inspired you to even venture into that area?
It wasn't as easy as it sounds. I started out my career at the Daily Times of Nigeria after mass communication degree in Lagos University. So while at the university, I had a column where I reported everything that was happening on campus for a Daily Times publication then called Lagos Weekend. So I had an every Friday column and I reported the university, the good, the bad, the ugly. It got to a point that even the Vice Chancellor, Professor Biobaku, noticed it and called me into his room to say, hi, I read so much about you every Friday talking about the university. Please don't get us into trouble. I said, no, I'm going to be as careful and selective about what I publish. Anyway, so after university, I went straight into Daily Times. And then I was in the Daily Times for about 3 years, reporting, sub-editing, features writing. I just did everything I could. Then the knack for advertising caught up with me. It was like a bug. A couple of my friends were at Lintas Limited, which was the foremost advertising organization in Nigeria. So I got in touch with that. I want to come into advertising, which was my primary area at the university. It took quite a while, but I was quite persistent. And in any case, I had a job. So I wasn't roaming the street, So it was
you were one of the few lucky ones.
Right. So it was, so I said, fine, take your time. Anytime you're ready, I'm available. Eventually, I was called upon, all the interviews and all that. And eventually, I was taken on as an executive in training. Okay. And that went on. My training period was 1 year, and I got into the mainstream. And now, after the 3rd year, I was sent abroad for attachment to Lintas overseas, offices in London. So I got into there, and it was for a 6-month period, which was pretty long, And while I was at that, ideas kept on coming. I think we can do this better in Nigeria. Okay, in terms of the briefing, in terms of sitting down to break your brief into pieces and know what goes to media, what goes to client service, what goes to production, and all that. And it was all so neatly put together, in London, that I said, this is quite a good process that I think we should evolve.
Pursue, yeah.
So when I got back, so my chairman said to me, I hope you enjoyed your program. I said, Oga, it was fantastic.
Yeah.
I think we can revolutionize the way we work.
Because I'm going to just let me interject
Yes.
there and ask you, what were those challenges that you faced at those early stages? Because
Right.
it's always nice to know.
In growing up into the industry, I began to notice some bureaucracy. Lintas was big, okay? And the bureaucratic process, you got to write your brief, it goes to your boss who works on it, he could keep it for another 2, 3, 4 days, then he turns it to you, you move it on to the next, maybe to copywriters. They took their time from copywriters, you take it back to the client to approve. After that is approved, you go on now to the creative department, the arts people, who will translate the script into visuals. And so that took a long time.
So
a
that's
lot of
snail
the time,
speed.
yeah, you go to a meeting and the client says to you, Steve, it's taking you almost 1 month to get to this stage. We can't wait. The market is so busy. The market is looking for quick turnarounds, So that was the major thing that caught my fancy, the way it was done in the UK. Yeah. So I came back and I had 2 classmates of mine who were also in the Department of Mass Communication with me. I was now in my 4th year in Lintas. And I said, guys, look, I have an idea, I'm thinking we should be able to set up something at this point in time. Now, and again, at that point in time, we had only 4 or 5 agencies that were foreign-owned or affiliated.
At that time?
At that time, yes. And then, it was like, hey, how can you want to compete against these big, foreign-owned agencies? There's always a starting point. Okay. So we will meet on Fridays over a glass of drink and all that. And the idea, started taking shape. Okay. How are we going to do it? How much money are we going to need? What kind of office space are we going to require? And everything. But that isn't disturbing our work. We went on putting in the very best we could. Because I always had this notion in me. If you have a piece of job and you do it shabbily, the day you decide
to do yours,
that shabbiness will still be with you. So wherever you find yourself, put in your
best,
optimal best.
Absolutely.
Okay. And so that was the mindset when we were planning all this. And eventually, in 1978, I left the university in 72. Yeah, in 1978, that was 2 years in Daily Times, 4 years in Lintas. So I had put together 6 years of work. So that was the point at which we now looked ourselves in the face and said, let us take the risk. I went to my chairman and I said, this is my thoughts. I said, wow. Are you telling me that out there you are going to be able to survive this mainstream advertising? I said, well, we don't know. We just want to go and give it a try. He said, okay, Steve, if it fails, come back. Just table,
your table is
seat
still,
will be
is still
waiting
available.
for you.
Awesome.
And I told myself, no. I told myself that, no. Once I leave,
You're not coming back.
going
Was
to
that the
come.
birth of Roosevelt?
That was the birth of Roosevelt.
Ah.
Yes. So that's how Roosevelt came, and it was Chief Odusi, Senator Odusi,
Yes.
who went into politics at some
Yes.
point. Otunba Tunde Adelaja
Yes. And so
was
many
my
others.
other partner,
Yeah,
and then myself. And
Okay.
so we took the plunge,
Yeah.
and we never regretted
Yeah.
it.
While I was trying to, dig up some facts
Yes.
about this, I picked that you were mentored by industry giants like, is it late Olufalomo?
Yes. Olufalomo is very much
It's
around.
still
Yeah,
okay.
it's now 80,
Okay.
85, 86. Oh, yeah, I mean, he was
okay, so
he
he's
was a
not
good
late.
mentor. No, he's not late, yeah.
Chief Mokeme.
Yeah, Memeke.
Memeke,
Yes, Memeke was the chairman. In fact, he was the highest advertising person. Linters is an offshoot of UAC of Nigeria. And UAC, of course, was Nigeria in those days, in terms of the conglomerate of businesses, Yeah. So Memeke was the first MD and chairman of Linters Limited.
Tell me, how did they, grooming you, taking you by the hand, how did that affect?
By the time I got into Linters, they were really well-established practitioners. A lot of them came in from radio. Dile Adetiba, Segun Ogubunmi, Marco Viagele, and a lot. They were all former radio, NBC people. And they had developed this flair for presentation, good elocution, which I know that's where that's where my Siju.
That's where some of us are, are instituted.
Absolutely. So they had developed so much of that, and I mean, you got into Linters in those days, a set of about 10 young, good-looking guys. They dressed up for you, and you say, hey, that's my guy, And we were able to put ourselves together. We worked really hard. And Linters grew in strength. I mean, they handled about 80% of all the commercial organizations in Nigeria. And because UAC was really the big conglomerate, yes, that put so many, they were into
almost everything.
Virtually everything.
Almost everything.
Almost everything. So we trained on that. And you were given this opportunity to be who you want to be. We weren't treated as young kids just coming out of school, You had a brief training period. After that, Chief Olufalomo, for instance, was, pretty older than we were, and he knew all the stuff. So he put you in positions where you either sink or you swim and float. So you had no choice, but it was an extremely beautiful learning situation. You were properly trained.
I'm so glad that you said that, because I want to believe that your exceptional performance had actually gotten you some leadership positions in certain areas.
It did.
I understand that a place like Zenith Bank, what leadership qualities do you believe are essential for success in today's business?
Now, first and foremost, you must believe in yourself. You must say to yourself, this is who I am, and this is what I want to contribute into my environment, which means you must be up to speed on whatever you decide to do. You must be able to say to yourself, I got to put in my best in everything I do. laziness has no space in this area we're talking about.
But practically in any
Yes,
area.
in everything you find yourself in.
There is no space.
Yes, believe in yourself, believe in the system, and say to yourself, I got to be the best that I can be.
Exactly.
You know, there's no two way to it. I mean, if you had all the money in the world thrown at you and you're not able to position yourself to exactly what you are cut out to achieve, there's no way you're going to make a success out of it. I mean, you talked about Zenith Bank. What I was told got me into Zenith Bank was my name and integrity. Because I just got called upon one early morning, and he said, the managing director wants to talk to you. And for a moment, I thought, oh, maybe they want to get me into the advertising space of Zenith. I mean, to be able to...
I know what you're saying.
You know. So I said, okay.
Since that is your
My forte,
your
that's
forte.
right. Yes. So the call came and I took it up and I spoke to him and he said, can we meet? I said, fine. So we fixed an appointment and I got there and we got talking. And so I said to him, I'm not in finance, I'm not in banking, I'm not in, in the finance space, so to say. So how do I fit into your system? He said, no. All that will come. The important thing is you have a good name and you have your integrity seems to us to be very much intact. Those are the two ingredients we need for now. In terms of learning how we operate, that will come with time. Absolutely. And that was it.
Because I'm so glad that you mentioned integrity.
Yeah.
This is something that I assume or I think is missing in many of us today. A lot of that. People do things without even thinking of how far, like, you protect your name.
That's right.
At all costs.
That's right.
There is more to talk about.
Yeah.
We just take a quick break now.
Right.
And we will be back. We have Sir Steven Omojafor. We'll be back. Welcome back. You're still watching Think Nigeria, and I have Sir Steven Omojafor in the house telling us about his experience, how he's grown in the business of advertising and marketing. And of course, you were saying before we went on that short break that integrity is most essential. What's your advice to the young people? Let me use the word young, but there's so many of us are even old, but we have no integrity. So how important, I want you to tell us how important integrity is.
Right. When you go on your journey through life, you never really know who is watching you. And for me, I define integrity as doing in public doing in private what you will be ashamed of if it gets into the public
eye.
So, but people are watching you, both in your private life and in your public life. They're reading about you. They're making inquiries about you. See, you got called up a couple of times from the blues.
From the blue?
Right.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah, can we talk to you? Can you please come in?
Absolutely.
Now, that's because some people have been watching out for you, your utterances, your attitudes, your performances,
yes,
either in the public sector or in the private sector, and how you relate to people generally. Right. And it's very difficult to hide your true character. No matter how long you pretend, it will, I mean, it's like smoke.
Yes.
Cover it as much as you can.
Yes.
It will filter
Yes.
out.
There's a Yoruba adage that says, "Efiniwa."
Efiniwa. Very much so. You know, so I say to the younger ones, please, 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 whatever you be ashamed of when it is found out, don't do it. Because eventually it will come
to light.
out. Yes. You know. So anytime I'm talking to the younger ones, I say, listen, nobody falls from heaven and become a success.
At all.
You must go through the ropes, and please be patient. It's not an overnight success.
That is what this young generation don't
Yes.
have. No patience.
You must be patient, because yes, you might take off with the kind of turbo speed. You don't go too far and you cut short. But if you took your time to, as I'll repeat it again, know who you are, know what you are best suited for. It's not all about money. No. I say to people, you want to grow you want to grow your wealth, you want to grow your days, you want to be known as the richest person. Today we know that even the richest person also cry. I mean, today there's so much being talked about the difficulties in the business sector. Oil and gas, a lot of people rush in there because there must be so much money, But today, the reality has come to stay with us. That if you decide to sprint before you learn to crawl, you will crash somewhere along the line. And I say to people, what exactly do you need to live your life? What do you need? Basics. Okay? Don't start dreaming of a palace when all you need at that point is a 2-bedroom.
Even one.
So
even one.
Cut short your dreams. We started with Volkswagen cars in those days, 760 pounds then. Okay? Was what the Daily Times was able, and we rode it for so long. And so it's going to be a gradual process. And honestly, that is what takes you to the tape. But you want to run faster than you should, you will crash midway. So patience is extremely important.
Sir Omojafor, tell me something. What do you consider your most or the significant achievement of your career?
Now, let me start off by going back very slightly, going back to my upbringing. My mom, who was virtually in charge of raising us up, will say to us, whatever is not yours will not be yours. He will also say to you that the water in the stream that comes to you, you can scoop what you need from there. If it goes past you, then it is not yours. In other words, talking about significant achievement, I think for me, being able to hold my head high today in any space I find myself.
Fantastic.
Which means in my absence, there's also this saying that what people are not able to say while you are there, or while you are out of the room, okay, shows a reflection of who you are. You must present yourself. Number one, greed is something that we at Roosevelt didn't bring into play at all. Everybody was open. We all knew what was going on. We all knew what the expectations were going to be. And we said to ourselves, I mean, look, the good Lord brought the three of us together. Okay? And we never knew each other until we got into the university. And from university, we built up this relationship that just kept us going. I mean, not too many partnerships have gone on for 40, 50 years like we have done. So there was no greed. There was no trying to
outdo each other.
Or trying to, whatever he's been able to achieve, I will also achieve it. Everybody has his own calling. Everybody knows, everybody has his own direction. In fact, if you are spiritually minded, you know that the path you are going to walk has been destined by the good Lord. Okay? So any attempt or any rush to break bounds, will backfire. So what's my most single achievement? I have worked, I have raised a family, I have, ran companies, now very well satisfied with my life the way it is today. There's nothing else you want to dangle in front of me, and I want to jump at it. So I think having done what we did, and we have a sense of satisfaction, contentment, helps you honestly to live a very satisfied life. You don't have worries, so all one wants to do is, yes, I've achieved this. It's not money, it's not wealth, it's not all the riches in the world. It's just that you are there, you are comfortable, and you are able to now help the younger ones that are coming in. Oh, I get calls. When can you come and talk to us at the university? I mean, eventually a university was set up by the Catholic Archdiocese.
That would be the St. Augustine?
That's Augustine. Yes, Augustine University. We're not allowed to use the word saint.
Okay.
So that it becomes for everybody. So just Augustine. And anybody could be Augustine. Yeah. So, and in starting, I was just invited. We want to start out this university. And it's like, you are one of the pillars on which we are going to build the university. So the university is about 8 years old. I have been the chairman of the board of trustees right from the onset. Help with fundraising, help with planning, help with virtually every aspect of giving these children some good opportunity. In Augustine University, for instance, no students coming from outside. And we are not in a rush, because university education is not where you want to go and make money. You want to be able to bring up children with all the qualities they desire for the future.
You're already touching on your philanthropic endeavors. You have actually also shone in that area, just as you have done professionally.
Right.
Why? There are some areas that I find, how did you move from advertising, marketing into things like cancer care?
Right.
Things like,
again,
disability.
Exactly.
And of course, you've touched on education.
You get invited. I mean, a lot of the things that happen to people like me and you, we don't go searching for it.
They look for us.
They look for you, except for things like politics, where I have always refused to get involved in. But in terms of your fellow human being, the younger ones, people who require, take the cancer thing, for instance. A call just came. Late, I remember the name, the first woman accountant in Mrs. Chief Mrs. Olakunrin.
Oh, her.
Yeah.
I know who that is.
I never met her before. A call came. Is that Sir Steve? I said, yes. We are having a meeting of the board of this Bloom Cancer organization. And your name keeps on coming up. I want to invite you to our next meeting. I hope you don't mind. And in 2 minutes, he told me everything that. So I said, look, ma'am, it's fine. Let me come to the next meeting.
Amazing.
And that was how I got into there. Okay.
Wow.
We live with disability in this country. A good number of people are disabled. Mentally, physically, socially. And what else can you give? What else can you be proud of, short of being part of helping to raise people up?
You also wrote some books. You wrote some books. Tell us about that. What inspired that?
I wrote one, and one was written on me. Right. The one I wrote was on my strongest mentor growing up, and that is Anthony Cardinal Okoje. All right? Because he's a guy who took me while I was growing up. I lived in the mission compound with him. So we kind of became so close. When he was 50 or 55, I said, what can I give to this man for what I have learned from him? And the idea just came, write a book about him.
Amazing.
And it was captioned Archbishop Antonio Okoje, Devil or Saint.
Oh,
because,
is that?
Oh, that's the title of the book, Devil or Saint. Because people said so many things about him. A lot of negative, a lot of positive. But I keep on saying to people, nobody has just one trait. Okay? Sometimes people read you differently. So I was able to get that book on him, and it was, in fact, I distributed them not for money, but for people to know who the subject is. The other one was written on me by somebody also in advertising who just saw me. He didn't work with me. He was working with the organization that was putting all agencies together. So he called me and said, sir, I want to do a book on you. I said, why? What do you know about me? No.
Would that be APCON? But then they are now ARCON?
Yes, not
They
yes.
have not changed
it was APCON
the name.
then, yes.
They've changed it.
So we sat together and, it took quite a while. But the book eventually, and it says Steven Omojafor, his style, his virtues, blah, 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 blah. So those are the two publications that we were talking about.
Yes, if I allow you, I know there's so much more that we can, but the program has timing. We just want to thank you so much for joining us today on Think Nigeria, and of course for the wonderful things that you've done as a Nigerian. You've impacted positively, in the lives of so many people, and we hope that generation today, as they watch you, and after today, they will learn and continue to learn from people like you that have impacted positively.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much,
Siju.
Sir
Thanks
Steve
for calling me
Omojafor.
in.
Thank you, sir.
And I want to say I'm still ready to talk and mentor and help children to grow up.
Absolutely.
We need to build up a country.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank
you heard it. You heard it. Legendary Sir Steven Omojafor has undoubtedly stamped his footprints in the sands of time, from humble beginnings to becoming an advertising giant and marketing force in Nigeria's corporate landscape. Achievements like this strengthen the Nigerian spirit. With us, that's resolute and undefeated. Till I come your way again next week, I am Siju Alabi. Bye for now.